We're moving right along. New York Times best-selling author of The Happiness Project, Gretchen Rubin, is here to talk about her new book, The Four Tendencies. Gretchen, I'm so happy that you've returned. Last time we were here, we were talking about The Happiness Project, and this time we're talking about The Four Tendencies, which everyone is going to be so interested in. The first thing I want to know is, what is it about human behavior that interests you so much?
You know, I'm just interested in, like, why are we the way we are? And also, if we want to change, why sometimes can we change? And then sometimes it seems like no matter how much we want to change, we can't. So I'm like, how do we solve that puzzle? How do you figure that out?
It's a good time of year to talk about that because, you know, at the start of the year, even though we're into February, people are trying to make changes in their life and they might be hitting a roadblock. So it makes sense to look at who you are in terms of your personality. The Four Tendencies is all about breaking people down into four categories. So what are the four tendencies?
So it's whether you're an upholder, a questioner, an obliger, or a rebel. And it depends on how you respond to expectations. Outer expectations like a work deadline or a request from a friend, and inner expectations like your own desire to keep a New Year's resolution, your own desire to get back into practicing guitar.
Okay, so you figured out your tendency.
Yes.
What is your tendency?
I'm an upholder.
Yes.
And that means that upholders readily meet outer and inner expectations. So they keep the work deadline, they keep the New Year's resolution without much fuss. They want to know what people expect from them, but what they expect from themselves is just as important.
Okay, so this is kind of rare.
Yeah, not that many people are upholders.
This is kind of rare.
It's the second most rare.
It's the second most rare. Okay, so I started reading the book and I thought, I see my weird self in here. I'm an upholder too.
Yes.
So I don't need anyone to tell me to do something. I'm going to do it because I need to respect my own goals and expectations. My own goals and expectations are as important as anything my boss tells me or anyone else. So I'm going to do it because I need to do it for me. And I drive people crazy.
Yes, as an upholder myself, I know what you mean. Yes.
Okay, let's talk about the obliger. What's the obliger like?
So obligers readily meet outer expectations, but they struggle to meet inner expectations. And I got my insight into this when a friend said, well, when I was in high school, I was on the track team and I never missed track practice, so why can't I go running now? And it's like, because when you had a team and a coach expecting you, you didn't have any trouble. But when you're just trying to go on your own, it's a challenge. And this is the biggest tendency. For both men and women, this is the one that the largest number of people belong to. You either are an obliger or you have many obligers in your life.
Got it. Okay, so if other people tell you what to do, you will get it done. But if it's you telling you what to do, you're just like, no.
Yeah, people who have trouble making time for themselves, putting themselves first, staying motivated. And what they need to do is create outer accountability. That's how they can meet inner expectations. If you want to read a book, join a book group. If you want to work out, take a class where the instructor is going to take attendance.
See, that's what's good about it, though. You offer solutions.
Yeah.
So if you are this person, it's not about changing who you are. It's about figuring out what you need to do to motivate yourself.
100%. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just a question of how do you get where you're trying to go.
Okay, I like that. What about the rebel?
Okay, so it is the shortest, it's the smallest tendency in the world and the largest chapter in the book because it's the most different from the other tendencies. So rebels want to do what they want to do in their own way, in their own time. They resist outer and inner expectations alike. And if you ask or tell them to do something, they're very likely to resist. So rebels really want to put their authentic self into the world, and they want to do what they want to do.
How do they get anything done?
Well, they can do anything they want to do. And so you have to say to a rebel, this is what you want, this works for you, or this is the kind of person you are. You're not eating this way because this is what the doctor told you have to do, or you promised me that you would. You're doing it because you respect your body. You love fresh, healthy foods. You choose to experiment with new flavors. You're not going to be addicted to sugar. You're not going to be, like, tricked by some fancy marketing campaign. Like, this is the way you want to eat.
Oh, so you have to convince the rebel it was all their idea.
Yes.
Okay. No, this is what you want.
This is what you want. You're quitting smoking because you're not addicted to nicotine. It's not because the doctor told you to.
That's right. Okay, and the questioner is the last tendency.
So questioners resist outer expectations, but they will meet inner expectations. So they'll do something if they think it makes sense. So they resist anything arbitrary, inefficient, irrational. If you have somebody in your life when you think, oh my gosh, you ask too many questions, that person is probably a questioner because they ask a lot of questions because they always need to know why. Why would I do this? Why are we doing it by Friday? Why am I listening to you anyway?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to know, even though this isn't about changing your tendency, can you change your tendency? Can you go in just a different direction?
You know, I don't really think that you can change your inborn nature, and I think this is a hardwired aspect of your personality. But what you can do is you can figure out, well, given my tendency, how can I set things up in a way that's going to take me where I want to go? So if I'm an obliger, how do I give myself that outer accountability? I don't need to turn myself into an upholder, but I'm going to get to the same place by using what I know about my tendency. Same thing with a rebel. Okay, maybe a to-do list doesn't work for me as a rebel. Everybody else uses them. I don't use them. But I can find a way to harness my rebel tendency to get things done just the way somebody would who uses a to-do list.
That's so cool. You just have to trick yourself into doing what works.
Yes, work with yourself.
Work
you
with
get what
yourself.
you get, and you don't get upset.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my kids hear that a lot.
Yes, right?
Have you ever been surprised by someone's results? Like put somebody through the test. There's a quiz, by the way, which we're going to put online, cityline.tv, because I know everyone's going to want to do it. Have you ever been surprised by someone's results?
Well, you know, sometimes from the outside it's surprising. Like I remember Andre Agassi is a textbook obliger, and I remember reading his memoir, brilliant memoir called Open, and I was like, I had this idea in my head of what Andre Agassi was like, and then I'm like, he's 100% an obliger. So sometimes I am surprised when you get in somebody and you think, well, it doesn't come out the way that I think, but absolutely they're expressing a true tendency.
Okay, just so you know, obviously there are four tendencies, but there are also leanings between the tendencies, because any study of human nature is going to be nuanced.
Right, yes.
So you can be an upholder that leans toward being an obliger.
Right.
And you've sort of narrowed that all down and explained that all in the book.
Right, because we don't all look alike. There's differences, but it's sort of how do you see these large patterns and how people respond.
Oh my goodness, read the book, guys. I think it's really going to help.